welcome back to the Dream Studios podcast. We are officially on episode 2, and we really want to thank you for your love and support on episode 1. We are so excited to start this journey with you guys and just share our thoughts and our experiences.
Yes. So with episode 1, we were talking a little bit about who we are, what age we started at. And with that being said, we kind of now wanted to go a little bit more piggybacking off of all the challenges we went through and all of how we overcame those. We want to talk a little bit more about taking action and increasing productivity and decreasing procrastination, because those are a big one when it comes to owning a business. With that being said, I think we should go into building momentum early on in life and talk about, a little bit about your experience, a little bit about my experience. I know starting off at 18 was a huge reason why I'm successful in what I do right now, because I'm able to take a little bit more risk and I have more energy. I just kind of feel like I am coming into the entrepreneur world like a baby. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that can have its pros and cons, but I think going into all the benefits that it really does have is something that I really want to kind of pinpoint today. So I don't know, what has been your experience starting at 18?
It's been really fun, and it's been a lot of emotions, to be honest. I will say I'm so glad I started at 18. I knew when I was younger that I just wanted to start working as soon as I was able to, as soon as I was legal to.
Me too. Yeah. Actually, I started to do it whenever I was not legal to, but it's just like side hustling.
Yeah.
Like I always had that in me. Like
you just had
lemonade
that passion
stands,
and drive.
I was out there. If I wasn't doing that, I eventually got into like the Rover like pet sitting app, and I just signed up as like my mom. And I was just like, I always was doing something even if it was an age where I couldn't like be an actual worker, but exactly that.
Well, yeah, I just started as soon as I could work, like as soon as I could become a real estate agent. You had to be 18, so I started right when I was 18, and I've really come such a long way. And a lot of people see it differently, like your 20s, your early 20s, like you need to have fun, don't stress so much, don't worry about starting a family and everything like that. And 20s are your prime time. And some people think that way, and then some people think like, oh no, like it's half and half,
Yeah.
And I'm both ways, like, and I know you are too.
Yeah.
Where I mean, we both started young, but we do like to have fun sometimes.
Yeah, like we're not boring, guys.
We're not boring. We go out, we hang out with friends.
Yeah.
And so it's still really fun, but starting, this business at 18, like there's so many things that I've learned, and I'm a completely different person from it, and I'm so happy with the person I am today. There's a lot of things I still need to continue to work on, and of course you're always going to have to, get better and push through every single day. But there's a lot of things that I see now that I handle way better with the mindset that I have, like for example, this is kind of random, but for example, this morning, my car, I was on the way to the gym. It was like 6:30 in the morning. I'm going to the gym, and then my car's engine light comes on, and I was like, oh shoot. But I honestly didn't even really react to it. Like I wasn't so mad or so pissed off. I just turned right around. I said, hey, I got to borrow, my brother's car. And so I feel like I would have been so pissed off at something like that, when I was younger. But now it's like I can handle those things so well. And I think it's just from learning things from business, starting a business. Like you have to be patient and stuff like that. So
I think I can speak to that too, because my road rage used to be a little worse. And like now people cut me off and I'm just like, okay. And then I'll just like take my time. But it's like those little things that it kind of starts changing. And then obviously like when you have some difficulties in the business, you're able to kind of deal with that with a clearer mind. I feel like when you're super frustrated, you only think one way. And I think anger is kind of intoxicating in some type of way.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you're mad, whatever you're about to do, it's usually not going to be good.
You're not in the right headspace
Exactly.
to do
So
anything.
for me, I know that whenever I'm anxious, whenever I'm angry, I'm not making some very important decisions in my life. I usually try to not. Like, I usually try and say, okay, I need to regulate this before I make an important decision. So things like that. I think we can also talk about like the strategies that we use to kind of overcome the self-doubt, the procrastination. Do you have any strategies?
So I mean, I do, but I'm still working on it. Like I always doubt myself sometimes, you know, but now it's literally just talking in my head, talking to myself, and I have like two voices in my head. I don't know if anybody else relates, but I've got like these two voices in my head. One's giving me self-doubt and the other one's like saying, shut up, don't listen.
Yeah.
And so honestly, like how I push through that self-doubt is just trying to get it into my head. Like, no, like you're doing so good. I have people all the time telling me like, you're 19, you're doing this, like, holy cow, you're so successful, you're gonna go so far in life. And I hear that a lot. I really do. I work with, you know, I'm at a brokerage with over 600 agents. I work with older people, and so I know that I have a gift. And I just have to remind myself, bring myself back to that and say, hey, you need to cut out this BS that's talking to you in your head.
Yeah.
And I'll just say, you're doing so
two
good.
Voices. So true.
You're doing enough. Like, you need to give yourself grace and not be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
So it's literally just, it's
literally how we were talking about last episode, because we were talking about affirmations and how powerful they can be. For me, it's the same way. Like, I have two voices, and one is my past self. And
it's like the angel and the devil on your shoulder.
It really is. And most of the time it's like temptation, kind of the itch for like instant gratification, which we're probably going to get into in a second too. But with that being said, that's usually how you recognize that second voice and recognize that's not who I need to be hearing right now. And that's why affirmations are so powerful. And, you know, a lot of the viewers too, as well, they were, you know, mentioning in the comments that they also practice affirmations. And that was so cool, because it is something that is so, like, you could think it's so little, but it really does.
And which is great that a lot of you guys had said that. I should do it more. I really should. And I follow all those entrepreneurship Instagram accounts with the, you know, the quotes. But really all I do is just like kind of argue with myself in my head, you know, with my devil and my angel. And you just gotta flick off your devil.
No, that's true. I used to call my like second voice Crash Out Brie. Like, that was a thing where I was like, that's not me talking. That's literally her being like, she's about to crash out. Like, we do not need to hear from her. Exactly. Bye. So she's out of here. And that was honestly a lot of the habits that I had in high school. So that's why I say, like, with certain habits, it's hard, yes, to change them, but it takes time. So, like, if you continue to tell yourself, okay, this is not what I want to be doing, this is not what I want to be doing, this is not aligning with what I want in the future or what values I have right now,
you're gonna hear me say
eventually it kind
a
of
lot.
goes out the window.
You're gonna hear me say a lot that you need to train your mindset, you need to train your brain. And it's true, like what you said, those affirmations take time, and at first you're gonna think they're stupid. But I mean, at first I thought they were stupid. I was like, ugh, whatever. And not gonna lie, I had a really ugly mindset coming into this, or coming into entrepreneurship. So you do have to train your mind, and then flick away the little devil that's telling you affirmations are stupid. You're stupid. Like, like, flick it away. And
you could be honestly so mean to yourself.
So mean. I've been so mean to myself on this journey. And now I'm finally starting to release that. And I still have, so much to work on, but I'm finally starting to release it. But that's what I want to say to you guys is, it's going to take time, but you will get there.
Yeah, just those little exercises.
Yep.
Exercises is not just being in the gym, but it literally can be
the
like
gym
practicing
helps.
those small habits that are just positive. So
yeah.
Now going into instant gratification, we can talk a little bit about our experience on social media, because I know that was a huge impact on me and how my anxiety was heightened, how my stress levels were heightened, and how I viewed other business owners too. So I don't know if you want to start or if you want me to kind of.
You can go. I want to hear about your TikTok addiction.
I know, yeah, you already know.
I know a lot of you guys have that TikTok addiction.
TikTok is so addicting. I talk to all my clients and I tell them the same thing, that TikTok is so addicting. It's something that it's so bad. It took me a while to realize how bad it is for you, though. Yeah. Because a lot of people, they'll sit and they'll just say, yeah, I have a TikTok addiction. Guys, can we realize addiction is never good? I just think that sometimes they'll say it and they just will not care. And I get it. Because I was there too. I was there at a point where I was like, I have a TikTok addiction and that's just who I am. Until I started to see and I started to kind of look more within and be like, what is this doing to me? And I noticed that I was always anxious. I was always stressed. And I say always because there's still certain times that I do get anxious. I do get stressed. But to be in that state always is just so intoxicating. And whenever I started to realize that, that's whenever I started to say, okay, I need to cut back down on TikTok. I never deleted it because I could never find the guts to delete TikTok completely. But I just kept on telling myself or praying about it and saying, I need help with this. And I know it's not going to be easy. I just think that it will take these little steps here and there. So it went through substituting it with reading or substituting it with watching YouTube instead. Because YouTube, you're focusing on just one video for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
And that helped a lot because with TikTok,
you're not always the urge of scrolling.
With TikTok, it's the scrolling. What really gets me is, or what gets a lot of people, but I know I can only speak from my personal experience, is that you're going through 30 emotions within 5 minutes. And sometimes in life you want to live like that. You want to do something and you want to get the reward right after, and that's the instant gratification part of it. With that being said, if you're training and you're talking about training your mind, if you're training your mind to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll, it's going to want that same effect in the real life. So with that being said, if you're going through 30 emotions in 5 minutes, in real life, you go through 30 emotions probably within it takes probably a full day.
Yeah.
I think that is just very intoxicating to your mind and it kind of overwhelms you.
I didn't even think about that because you said 30 emotions within 5 minutes. And a lot of people that are scrolling on TikTok are doing that at night. And so people can't sleep. I'm someone with insomnia and I don't even scroll on TikTok before bed. I just have trouble sleeping sometimes. So it's also really bad doing the doom scrolling at night. Sometimes I love it. If it's on a weekend and I'm like, okay, I just want to scroll on my phone. Okay, it's the weekend. I deserve to do this. I'm giving myself that time. But if you have to wake up in the morning, you got to get a good sleep. Sleep is so important. That's a great point that you're just making it harder for yourself.
You're just waking yourself up. Yeah. And so even my morning and night routines, some great advice that I've received is starting your day with yourself and ending your day with yourself. So when getting on your phone first thing in the morning, you have no idea what your For You page is going to come up and bring you. You don't know what your Explore page is going to show you. And sometimes you'll start the day off looking at how great someone else is living. And then you're seeing the highlights, first of all, of their life. And then you're kind of like, well, shoot, my day already sucks because I'm not where they're at.
And I'm a victim of that.
And you have no grace for yourself because you're just waking up. You should never kind of, and I say this because you are what you eat. And that's just consuming in all things. I'm saying what you watch, what you listen to, all those things will eventually kind of either intoxicate you or they'll fill you up with you know, hope and faith and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So whenever I see it, it's been something I cut back on. Now I've been so much better with TikTok, and I've been loving it. I know some of you guys are gonna be like here she goes, like talking about TikTok, let's TikTok. Guys, like it took me a while. It was not just over one day where I was kind of minimizing my TikTok. It took me, you know, like a couple months that
Yeah.
I was either thinking about it, then started acting on it, and then just one day I was just kind of like, okay, I'm just throwing in the towel and I'm just going to, and I put an app on it.
Time restriction?
Yeah, I put a time restriction on it, but it's kind of like some people, they'll just skip right over it. So what's really helped me is obviously I'm very strong with my faith. So whenever I put the app restriction on it, I would always, so you can put like a lettering on it. I don't know the app. I'll probably just put it in like the bio, but you can put like what you want it to say. So every single time I go onto TikTok, it tells me ask Jesus first, and I'm like
That's
okay.
smart.
And so
It reminds you to
now
pray.
it literally reminds me to be like knowing him and getting to know him a little bit more. I'm like, yeah, he probably wouldn't want me to be. And then I think about what am I doing right now that this is going to benefit me. Okay, if it's like I'm not doing anything, I did everything on my to-do list.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll dive into it, and it has me on like a 10-minute timer, and then I'll get off of it. Sometimes I'll like reload it just to, you know, have a little extra time, but then it's very managed. And I think the cold turkey stuff, it sometimes just doesn't work. Just kind of going cold turkey, cutting everything out. For me, it was very hard to do that, but I've been loving it. I've been loving my time off TikTok.
Yeah.
Guys, I have more peace without TikTok, to be
That's
honest.
good. That's good.
So good.
Actually a year or two ago, I deleted TikTok just because I had the app. I never posted on it. And I wouldn't go on it for like weeks at a time.
Yeah.
But then the one day that I would go on it, I'd be on it for 4 hours. I'd scroll for 4 or 5 hours, and I wouldn't be able to sleep that night. And I just felt like, do y'all ever get that disgusting feeling like, ugh, I've been on my phone laying down for too long?
Like the headache.
Yeah. And so I was like, you know what? I'm literally deleting it. So I deleted it. And then the reason I have it back now is because
Someone sent you a TikTok?
No, but some of my family members were saying like, you need to get on TikTok and post your real estate videos there, because I post on Instagram. If you guys follow me on Instagram at Holt Cruz Homes. I'm kidding. Or not. Anyways.
She's not kidding.
I post a lot of reels on there, and they're like, you need to post it to TikTok. TikTok will give you a lot more reach, whatever.
I found you on TikTok.
Brianna found me on TikTok. There you go.
Guys. Like, come on now.
So it can be really good for business, but you
it's
have
like
to
knowing
be able
what you're doing for.
Yeah, knowing what you're doing
like,
it for.
You can't really trick yourself out. You know
Like,
what you're on TikTok for
I
sometimes.
I only have 153 followers on there. That's how much I'm not on it.
Yeah.
And I do acknowledge that I need to post more real estate videos on there, because I've gotten leads off TikTok for real estate. But again, yeah, it's using it for business. And I will go on there for, I will scroll on there sometimes for personal like pleasure. But with TikTok, like, I honestly don't even like the app. Like, I like Instagram. I'm an Instagram girly.
I love TikTok.
I still love girly.
TikTok. You see how my addiction's like coming back up?
Yeah, okay. We're going to wrap up this TikTok. But our main point is just, you can get so distracted by these kind of things. For me, I get really distracted with Instagram. Like, once I post one of my real estate reels, I'll post it, and then I find myself on Instagram for a little bit. And even though I'm on Instagram, let's say for like 10, 15 minutes after posting, that takes out so much time of my workday, essentially. Because now I'm not focused, and then I have to regain that focus, and I swear I'm like ADHD, and it's hard for me to focus.
Yeah.
So that's one of the issues that I deal with.
Yeah. I think I know I can speak for like our relationship. We can also get into like accountability, and just speaking on the people that you have around you. I'm pretty sure you guys are so familiar, especially if you're listening to a podcast that's about personal development.
Oh yeah.
You guys are so familiar with the fact that the people around you basically influence you whether you like it or not. positive and negative. And with that being said, it's great to have an accountability partner. It's great to kind of have someone that knows what you want and they're there to just support you and everything that that you're striving for. So,
And it's not even just having an accountability partner. One of the biggest things that I've learned and that's helped me in my business is having an accountability partner, but also surrounding yourself with people that are better than you. If you're not surrounding yourself with people that are just as good as you or better than you, you're not going to get better.
yeah.
Because let's say and I don't mean this to sound bad in any way, but I'm just saying, like, if you're someone that, is probably has a stronger mindset than other people around you, you're surrounding yourself with people that don't have the same values as you, like, it's going to be harder for you to better yourself. But if you have those people that you're surrounded with that have great systems in place,
Yeah.
have a great mindset, great values, goals, you see them constantly working for it, they're motivating you without even like trying.
Yeah.
And then when they do motivate
yeah.
you, it's like, oh shoot, like,
I also think that a misconception of this, especially people in business, they think they need to just have a whole bunch of business friends. When I actually have some friends from high school that they're D1 athletes, they're working, they're really dedicated to their sport and they're also really dedicated to their education.
Yeah.
So at the same time, they're juggling both. With me, I know I kept them around and I kept them as friends. I know it sounds like weird, but it's true. You have to pick and choose like who you keep around in your circle because they were always dedicated to something. Some people are just, you want to have people that are just motivated to their next goal. It doesn't have to be people that are obviously in business. Not everyone's going to own a business. And that's just kind of not realistic whenever you're thinking, okay, like let me just drop all my friends that are not in a beauty business and not doing what I'm doing.
Sense.
It doesn't make sense. But I think that's something that's not talked about as much, to kind of specify, just have some good people around you that just have goals. Because if they don't know where they're going, I know with focus, it's a tricky subject, but you can tell who's really focused on their next goal and who's really not. And it'll basically start to rub off on you if you continue to hang around those
and not
people.
even that, but also just seeing if those friends actually support you.
Yeah.
Like, and especially for us, and I know not everybody listening in is going to be right out of high school, but if you are, you're not going to be friends with a lot of those friends from high school.
Yeah.
And it really is a tough thing to grasp, but honestly now I'm so happy with the people in my life. Like, I feel like every person in my life has a purpose and everyone that has been in my life has served a purpose to grow me because I've gone through those relationships that have really hurt me, but they only made me realize, like, I'm doing this for myself.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not on my own, but like I'm on my own. Like, I'm doing this for me. This is my life, and taking control.
I think there's a positive in that too.
Yeah.
I think some people can see it as negative, but there is really a positive whenever you talk about certain lessons that you learned and just knowing your worth off of those people that, you kind of fell through the cracks. Bringing it all back, I think another thing is time blocking, also creating productivity. I think some people, they think they're being productive when they're just doing things, when they're in motion and just kind of doing whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that can sometimes confuse a lot of individuals whenever they think that they're just stressed and whenever they think they're stressed and they have a lot on their plate and they're just doing a lot of things, time blocking everything and making sure they have no breaks. They think that they're being so productive when really productivity comes from prioritizing. So how do you go about prioritizing, making sure there's things at the top of your list?
Yeah. So time blocking is huge. And as an entrepreneur, you're going to hear this and how important it is. I'm still working on it. Again, everything I'm still working on. And there's things that I can get better at. But time blocking is so important because you can easily say, like if I told you, hey, I'm going to get content today for my real estate Instagram, I'm going to make some calls today, follow up with leads, and then me and you are going to film this podcast later. How do you know what order you're going to do them in? How do you know, how long it's going to take you to do each? Like, you need to have it on your calendar, ready for you to go, because if you don't, you'll forget. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can't. You can't see, but my calendar is completely time blocked, and I go over. I'm not at the point where I can plan out my whole entire week yet. Like, I can do it to where I have my non-negotiables, like, okay, gym, waking up, breakfast, and then, like, we always schedule
heavy on the breakfast because
I can't go out without my breakfast.
Yeah, some people don't put that as a non-negotiable. That's like a really big priority.
Yeah,
as well.
Don't forget breakfast. But what was I saying?
When you put everything in your non-negotiables, and then you can plan off of that.
So I can't plan my entire week ahead, but I will say, like, okay, if we're filming the podcast Friday, I'll at least have that there, and then Thursday I'll go in and say, okay, this is what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm going to go in and time block it all. So in the morning I go to the gym, come back home, eat breakfast, get ready, and then I get settled. I'm like, okay, today I'm making calls. I have 2 hours to do this. And I haven't started timing myself, but I really want to, because in the beginning of, my real estate career, I, didn't know about time blocking because I just wasn't taught. I started in a brokerage that didn't train me, and I didn't get all these tools. But now that I'm with the brokerage I am now, shout out Keller Williams Metropolitan, I have so much training, and I'm surrounded by so many people that are better than me, that are top dogs. And then that's when I learned the importance of time blocking,
like delegating
and delegating tasks, and making sure that you're spending enough time on tasks. So definitely looking at your calendar. I don't know if you guys like planners. I bought a planner and I never really used it, but I need to get back into it, because when you write things down, you remember them more.
Yeah.
And it's more likely that you're going to do them. But have a calendar, whether that's your Apple, your Google Calendar, and just start blocking things off as a start. And what I'm going to work on right now is, once I'm doing those tasks, timing myself. Yeah. So that way, I won't use my phone if that's not something that I need. And then I can feel like, okay, I'm getting things done.
What I learned, or how I learned this whole time blocking and prioritizing, more importantly, like my to-do list. So making sure that, I can put a to-do list of like 20 things, but Brianna, do you have to go to Target? Like, is that on your to-do list? Like, you do not have to go to Target that bad. And so whenever I would make these to-do lists, I was like, shoot, like, there are some more important things on here, and I'm just kind of wanting to get everything done, and you don't get more time in a day. So with me, I know with studying, it's been still something that I do, same thing like you, it's still something that I am going to be going through and helping myself with. But I would always put studying off to the last second. And as an example, if I did that, it could be like a Thursday night, and then my friends are texting me, hey, like, let's go out and eat. And I'm like, this is the time block I had to like study. But I'm like, I'll just do this one time. And then that one time turns into another one, and then it turns into another one. So things like that. When it comes to studying, I really try to do it in the morning, get it out of the way, because it is top of my priority list. And with that being said, I know if I leave it till the last minute or after I do all my other things, I'm just at that point not going to want to do it, because I feel like I've already been productive this day. But it's making sure that, yes, you're still being productive, but making sure you're putting those top of the list first. Yeah. Even if you hate them, because my thing, I kept on putting it last because it was the thing I wanted to do least, but it was the thing I needed to do most. So,
and that's another thing is it's more likely that the thing that you need to do most is the thing that you absolutely do not want to do. Yeah. And a big thing at my brokerage is, our thing is, like, if it's not on your calendar, it didn't happen, or it's not going to happen. Yeah. And
that's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
And then what you said, I struggled with too. Like you had something blocked on your calendar, but your friends invited you to go do something.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the time, my sister, this is really random. My sister, she doesn't live with us anymore, but she'll just come to the house randomly, or sometimes I won't know about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to spend time with her. Like
Yeah.
I love just spending time with my family. Like I get really bad FOMO.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
So I will
Me
literally
too.
like get distracted and not complete what was on my calendar.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, this is why I wake up early.
Yeah.
I get things done early in the day, so that way if something like that happens, I I did what I needed to for that day.
And noticing that you're not cutting out family time. Like that's
Yeah.
so important because I'm a huge believer that family time is so like therapeutic.
Yeah.
I already know I'm gonna hear like all of them text me, and they're gonna because they texted me the last time I brought them up in the podcast,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Are we?"
They're
getting-"
gonna keep that
like we
snippet
got
of you
a shout
talking
out.
about
Like
it.
when are we getting paid? And I'm like, okay, guys. But it is truly therapeutic whenever I go see my cousins. Even like spending time with my parents at home. We have like a round
Yeah.
table. A lot of conversations come up.
Board games?
Yeah, sometimes board games.
Love board games.
But what we do is like Monopoly Deal. That one's a really good one. You actually need to know about
Yeah.
it. You need to. We
y'all,
need to
y'all
teach
gotta
you
get on
Monopoly Deal.
Rumacube.
What? The
Okay,
heck? Well,
okay,
okay, we'll
let's
go
get
into
back
board games another time. But yeah, no, it's very therapeutic. It basically, I do it every Sunday. Make sure that I see my family every Sunday. If not, I see obviously my mom and my dad. I spend time with them, and it just for me, it gives me the energy for the week because it's like, this is what I'm doing it for. Like, this is the
Yeah.
time that I really want more of. And with entrepreneurship, you want to work smarter, not harder. So you want to work so that there's time that you can say, okay, I'm clocking out, I'm stepping back, and I just want to spend time with my family because that's you can't put a price on
Most
that.
important.
So that's how I see it. It's
Yeah.
very therapeutic for me. I always leave seeing my family happier than I was before. Especially my cousins. They're probably like the funniest people I know. So yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely setting those boundaries. Like, of course, family and friends are important.
Yeah.
But if you have something blocked in your calendar that you know you need to do, you have to set that boundary and say, hey, like, I'm not gonna come out to Pluckers tonight.
Yeah.
Or if I do, like, I'll come out later. I'll meet y'all later. Y'all go ahead and I'll meet you guys there.
Yeah.
That's where she was last night. But,
guys, I had a $5 free
I'm
wing.
kidding.
I don't know if you guys seen those coupons go around, but I had $5.
shoot.
I had a 5 free wings. So I was like, they're gonna expire. So
Yeah.
I had to do what I had to do. But no, exactly.
Anyways.
I should have been bettering this is the accountability we're talking about. Like
She gets on me, I get on her.
Yeah.
And that's so important to have because even if we get on each other, like, we know that they're right, that they're doing this because they care about you. So finding an accountability partner is it's so big for you and your business.
Yeah.
But yeah, just those boundaries with family, friends, and business. You don't want to overstep with the business, and then you don't want to overstep with life,
There's a
personal
good
stuff getting in the
balance.
way of the business and
Yeah.
then not getting things done. So boundaries are huge.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we've talked about boundaries and we went over a lot of things, we really want to end this with, what is your big why? So in every business or every entrepreneur, they always have a big why. Like, why are you doing this? What is the purpose? So I encourage you, if you don't have your why yet, figure it out. I
And
noticed,
the why is 7 layers deep. So it's
Yeah.
not just one thing.
Yeah.
And I've seen a pattern in that. But yes, it is like really doing some self-reflection and saying, what is my why? Kind of digging deep
And
into
really,
that.
yeah, like, you're digging deep, and a lot of these answers you're not going to have right away. Like, I went to a class or a meeting at my brokerage, and I got a sheet, and it was kind of figuring out what your why is. And it asked me, why are you a real estate agent? Why, all these questions. And I honestly had a tough time answering some of them, but it's good to go through those. So figuring out why you're doing what you're doing, or why you're going to do what you're going to start, right? Like, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And and figuring out what your why is, because that's very, very important. Starting your business.
I think same thing. I was asked one time, like, what do you think the value you bring to your clients are or
Yeah,
is? And I
exactly.
was like, what do you mean? Like, I invested into this business. Like, I went to cosmetology school. Like, I bet it on myself. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And after having that question asked to me, it's been kind of a reflection ever since. And now I'm able to confidently say, like, no, I invest into my education. I invest into other people's education. With my clients, it's all personalized to them. You know, it's things that now I'm like, okay, I found my why. Like, I found what really brings me
Mm-hmm.
joy whenever I do have a client and they do leave happy with their services. So, same thing. I figured out sort of my why. And I know sometimes it could be family. It really is. And I talked about it a little bit, saying how family time is therapeutic. And it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I also am a people's person. And I do like to see people happy. And I do like to make people happy and make people feel good. So, with that being said, there's times where I do speak to my clients and it's literally like a therapy session within
Yeah.
itself. And with that, is what makes it all worth it sometimes, because it's not just the service. Like, it's people that I
Yeah.
get to know. It's people that now they're like really good friends with me. And for me, that's so much worth just the kind of exchange of, oh yeah, I'm just doing your service.
That's the important part, is the relationships with your clients. Like for me, I didn't know, like it's also about like what makes you different, what makes you stand out. That's something that you need to go over with yourself when you're starting,
Mm-hmm.
or that's something beneficial. I mean, last night I didn't get home till like 7:30. I was out with a client. I showed her a home and she ended up not liking it, but it was near her neighborhood. And she was like, and she's an older lady, she's 65, and she's like, "You want to see my house? Like, you want to go
Mm-hmm.
see it?" And I I wanted to go home, but I was like, you know what? Like, yeah, I want to go see.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of some things, going on. And I went to her house and she gave me a whole house tour, and I just learned about her and, her life, and
Mm-hmm.
it was so special, and I could tell that she just wanted to talk. She just needed somebody to talk to, and I was so glad that I was able to be that person
Yeah.
for her. And so it's not, again, like you said, essentially it's not just doing it for the money. Like, there's a deeper reason. Like, of course you're doing it for the
You're making a
money.
living,
You're
but
making a living.
there's other things, there's other positives that you can take out
Exactly.
of it.
Yeah.
Now, taking you guys into your next week, we want to give you just a plan to action. We'll be working with you the same way, things that we're still struggling with at this point, too. What we want to basically give you for this next week is something that's going to help you with increasing your productivity, decreasing your procrastination. So, if you haven't found your why, I highly recommend you look into it. It's 7 layers deep, so you're not going to maybe find it within this 1 week, but just start looking at the positives of your business. Start looking at the positive of your job, even if you're in a 9 to 5 still, the benefits that you still have. Just making sure that you are practicing and training yourself to have that gratitude, especially with Thanksgiving around the corner. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we also want you to work on the affirmations, making sure that you're continuing the affirmations from last week, even if it's something small, making sure that you're being nice to yourself, you're having grace with yourself, you're being realistic with yourself and saying, you're doing great. And if you're not doing great, then you will be doing great. I think there's certain seasons, and yeah, sometimes you don't perform as you like to, but you can't live backwards. You have to start living,
And
keep
it's
on
going
living
to
forward.
happen. It's
Exactly that.
inevitable.
Exactly that. And your next thing is making sure you're putting things in your schedule. So with the
Use
to-do
your
list,
phone.
use your calendar, use your
Everybody
phone.
has a phone.
You have a phone because I see you on TikTok. So
We
let's
see you
bring
on
it back.
TikTok. We
We
see
see you on
you.
Instagram.
We see you listening to our
Come on now.
podcast.
But yeah, making sure if you think of something, if you have a great idea and you have all that energy, put that energy into putting it in your schedule, putting it, even if it's putting in your schedule where you know that you're not busy at 6 a.m. in the morning and you have the ability to wake up at 6 a.m., wake up at 6 a.m., make that workout a non-negotiable, and make sure that you're putting that in your schedule so that you're setting yourself up for success. And so whenever 6 a.m. comes around, you already know what you're going to be doing. Like, you're waking up, you know exactly what to be getting into motion. Even if you don't want to be doing it, you're kind of increasing the percentage of if you would even get it done if you're putting it down and putting it in your schedule. So those are the 3 things we want you guys to kind of take with you this week. We will be practicing the same things. And yeah, thank you guys.
We're all going through it together.
Exactly. But no, we really do thank you guys so much for watching, exactly with all the support that you guys had with episode 1.
Yeah.
It was amazing, and all the nice words that were messaged to us and said, we really do appreciate it. And just for many more to come. We cannot wait for the next episode our special guest. We can't wait. But yeah, we are still in the process of taking all the client forms, or not the client forms. I'm like thinking my old other business, the guest forms. So if you do want to be on the podcast, let us know, or just fill out our guest form. With that being said, we are filling it pretty quick. So within next year, we might have to start looking into next year's episode, but no worries. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.